from someone who just had such a bad taste about politics and what politics is and who politicians are, had an idea of who politicians were. But Pete was just so funny and sharp that I agreed to go over to South Bend and have a date with him. And haven't looked back since. It's a really, really special date. We went to our local Irish pub, we went to a baseball game. It was like straight out of a rom-com. It was disgustingly beautiful. There were literally fireworks on our first date at the ballpark. Walking along the river and your hands brush against the walls. It was a Hallmark movie, it really was. But I was still hesitant to date a politician. I was so nervous about seeing this guy who talked a good talk and was very fun to chat with over a dinner. Would he become someone else? Would he become someone different once we stepped outside of that pub? And for the last 4 years, I have watched Peter be the same person in every setting, whether he is with my crazy, awkward family at Thanksgiving, or whether he's getting yelled at and berated on the street corner because someone doesn't like something about their neighborhood, a pothole, a garbage can. Pete always approaches every situation, whether it is privately, with his husband, with his family, or with his community, with empathy and compassion. He has such a service-driven heart. He is such a kind person. And that was very easy to fall in love with early on in our relationship when I saw that this guy's the same, no matter where we are. He's just always the same guy. So for those of you following along, we got married last summer. My parents walked me down the aisle, which was very special. And that was particularly very special for me because there was a time in my life when I never thought that would happen. When I came out this summer, I turned 18. Frankly, I think my family didn't know what it meant to be gay, and they were terrified for their kid. It was very hard. I left home. I lived out of my car for a little bit. I couch surfed on friends' floors or couches until my mother called me back home. She called and said, will you please just come home? And I'm so grateful for that, because there are millions of kids in this country who don't get that. Millions of people in our community who don't get that. They don't get to go home. We went through a long process together as a family of healing and question asking, and it meant so much to me last summer to see them proudly walking their son down the aisle and handing him over to this amazing man who even a year ago we did not anticipate bringing this into our life. So I'm so glad that there's a happy ending at the end of that story for me, because I never really thought that I'd be here. Not just here talking about my husband or talking about this presidential campaign, but just here. It's still so hard in this country to be gay, or to be different, to belong to a minority community, to be something other than what we perceive to be as normal, or what others perceive to be as normal. For a long period of my life, I just never thought that I'd make it, that I never really saw a future because I just assumed I wouldn't make it. And so it is so special not only to travel the country just as an openly gay man, proud openly gay man during Pride Month, or months, as it seems we get in the South. Talking openly about love and acceptance and family and bravery and passion and empathy, but also doing that on a stage in front of a backdrop, because my husband is running for president. And not only is he running for president, he's a top-tier candidate for the American presidency. How cool is that? So this year has been insane. It has been such a roller coaster of emotions. When Pete asked if I was okay with this, it was very easy to say yes. Because I think not only would America benefit from having a president like Pete, but America deserves to have a president like Pete. But there's no preparing for running for president. There's no handbook on what it means to be a spouse, although, Michelle, your book has been phenomenal. An openly gay couple running for president. So that we've just been tackling a lot. And I want to thank you first and foremost for what you have done for us. Not only in this moment, just being two married men in this country, the shoulders in which we stand upon. So everyone in this room has a stake in that story. So thank you for that. But for believing in this campaign, and whether you donate $1 or you donate more, you're believing in a project and you're investing in a project that's saving lives. And this is the thing I didn't know, this is the thing I couldn't anticipate, the thing I couldn't prepare for. That I love going to Iowa and the early states, and I love doing the rallies and meeting people and shaking hands and working the rope lines and chatting to people, but I did not anticipate the amount of hurt that I would encounter in this country, the amount of anguish that people have. That people are just craving a sense of belonging. Yeah. They are craving a politics that makes them feel like they matter and that they belong again. You, by investing in this campaign, are also investing in those people. And you are offering them a seat at the table. And you are offering them a hopeful, kinder, more compassionate country. When I meet parents who tell me about their kids who had contemplated committing suicide but then saw a gay couple on the cover of Time magazine and it said First Family, how that gave them hope and that they stuck around. They're literally here not just because of that cover but because of you, because we believe in something better. It's just been sometimes too much. When you go out there and see what people are up against. And so I'm excited to work with you to usher in a new era for this country alongside Pete. I'll try to be short on monologue because I do want us to have time to, I want to answer some questions and we'll mingle and stuff. But before I go, I just want to say thank you so much for investing in this project, spending your time here. I hope that you're here for this and not just the air conditioning. But thank you for believing in us and believing in this project. So let's talk, let's have a conversation for a little bit, and then, but before they give me the hook. So if anyone has a question, hi, how are you?
Hi.
I like your shirt.
Thank you. I love this shirt.
Is there a certain spot I should stand in? Okay. Okay. Hi.
Hi. Oh my God. All right, I've thought about this from the time I read this book, which I also got on audio, not just the hard copy.
Shortest way home. Now available on Amazon.
Absolutely. I went to a bookstore and bought it.
Great.
Yes. All right.
And thank you, by the way, because we're using the book money to pay off the wedding. So.
When you first saw Pete's profile on Hinge,
Yeah.
which picture really got your attention? The casual, or in uniform?
Oh, it was a expertly crafted profile. This very cute photo of him in uniform, which of course he put up there for a reason, right? The one that actually caught my attention was the one where he was standing behind a podium with his name on it, and everyone around him was cheering. And that's what prompted me to Google him. Like, what is that about? But he was adorable in every photo.
Yes. Real fast. I'm a municipal employee too. If I can give this to someone on your staff, this is stuff from City of San Antonio. If I can give
Thank
it to
you. Thanks. Emily's right here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, man.
I'll take it.
Thank you very
so
much.
Appreciate you.
Hi.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm sure you've probably answered this question, but humor me.
Okay.
If you were to become the first husband in like the history of the United States,
Yeah.
what do you have an idea of what your program would be?
Yeah.
Would it be grammatically correct?
It would be a real program. Yeah, so I'm very grateful that my parents allowed me to run with my fascination of the theater, and I'm so grateful for my high school theater teacher because just about the time I figured out that something was different with me. High school is a pretty miserable place to be if you feel different or left out or like you don't belong. And she made space for me in the theater, and that was my safe haven. That was the safe space for me to be. And that's where I really fell in love with theater and stuck with it through college, and then taught theater. And I've just always loved the arts. Not only because is it a wonderful creative outlet, but the arts is really where my education asked me to examine who I was and my place in the world. And theater asks you to view the world through multiple lenses and asks you to be empathetic towards other people. And I think a lot of kids could benefit from that type of education. I know the arts isn't always the sexiest thing, and it's usually the first thing we cut. And I'm happy to be out on the trail right now advocating for the arts and the humanities because they are so important, especially in today's economy and this political environment where we can all use a little bit more kindness and empathy. But what I really want is just for kids to feel like they belong. And I don't see enough of that coming out of this current White House. That from the highest office in the land, you get to set the tone. And I've experienced it in my own classroom. I don't know if there are any other teachers here. Oh, great. Thank you for coming. Can we give a round of applause to the teachers? So teachers are on the front lines every day, and I don't think they get enough credit for the work that they do. But even in my classroom with students who come from homes with clearly very different political beliefs than I do, the way that some students feel emboldened to treat others are the things that they will say because the President of the United States has said those things or has set the tone for how we treat other people, the way we talk about other people, scares me. There's a lot of things that scare me as an educator, but it is a lack of compassion and empathy for other people that really raises the red flag for me, makes me think that we're in trouble. So back to the arts, that's where I feel like I did my best work as a teacher, was in drama class. When I asked these kids to do work that requires them to examine themselves or other people through a different lens, right? And I want every kid to have that opportunity, but not just that opportunity in drama class or the arts, but I want every kid in this country to have access to programming that makes them feel like they belong. So I feel like inclusion really is the goal. That so many people feel left out, and so many people have been made to feel like there is no space for them in this country. That we have a lot of work to do and a lot of healing to do. So this next administration has a lot of work to do, especially for young people. And I need young people to know that they are cared about and they matter, and that there's space for them. So in a Buttigieg household, and in a Buttigieg White House, you would definitely see messaging coming out of the administration telling kids that they matter, that they belong, that it's okay to be different, it's okay to not fit the mold. And you would definitely see the president and the first gentleman talking about that.